Over there. Right. Can you just say your name and where you're from?
Robin Harper, MSP, and I'm the promoter of this evening's event, officially. Sorry I was late getting here, but I put my name down to promote it because I would dearly have loved to be here for the whole conversation. There's been a lot of talk about taking things out, about wider view. I'd like to just mention three things, just little vignettes. 1980, Lothian region. 40 secondary schools, every single one had an outdoor education teacher. Now, there's not one. Vignette 2, by law, in Norway, in primary schools, every pupil must spend 1 day a week outside school. Vignette 3, I visit, as I do today, I visited a school where they had a wonderful presentation and some actors in talking about, well, acting out a lovely little play about waste. 6 years ago I was visiting a very small school outside Edinburgh, I won't say entirely where, and they were doing a lovely project on the Amazonian jungle. And the kids, it was a super project, and the kids knew everything about the relationships between bees and trees. They really had a handle on what ecology was about, because it was about systems, it wasn't about individual pretty animals, it was about the whole way that animals and plants and fungi and everything worked together. It was a lovely project. I asked the teacher afterwards, there's a wood over there. Have your class been out of the school into that wood to see how our own ecological system works? And she said, well, no, because you have to fill out so many risk assessments that it's not worth it, it's a waste of time. We have, and we had, the energy, the number of teachers who were interested in environments outside schools, treating the world as a classroom, not just, and I'd love to speak about designer schools, because I'm a friend of Howard Little's, who's just designed and built one of the greatest, I think, an iconic building at Acharacal. I don't know if that was mentioned earlier, but it's going to be an example in terms of school design involving parents, children, and all the rest of it in the design of the school over a period of years, as we were talking about on another thing. We can do it. We have done it. And we must do it in the future for the sake of our children. Thank you.
Thank you. And in terms of action, you've said, things which aren't happening. What would you suggest as maybe a way you could get rid of some of that sense of the constraints there to make things happen? Oh. Positivism.
Well, get councils not to gold plate risk assessments for a start. I mean, there was a teacher who wanted to take a class out to take tree rubbings, and she was issued with an instruction that all the children would have to wear plastic gloves in case they caught something off the tree.
Okay, fine. Excellent. So, this one. Short and sharp each one. Next one. Over here.
Hi, my name is Kate Campbell. I'm the manager of Eco Schools Scotland, which is an international programme encouraging our young people in schools to be more sustainable. At the moment we have 94% of all state schools in Scotland registered on the programme. I agree very strongly with Keir's perspective on our new build schools. I think we have a missed opportunity. I have the most fantastic job, I think. I get to travel around Scotland, visiting schools, talking to children, and looking at how green, how sustainable they are in the practice they're doing. But also, I'm also looking at the schools themselves. And the new builds that we have in Scotland to date have been pretty disappointing, I would think to say. Children in school, that's a fantastic learning opportunity. The new build that's going on around them, it links strongly to the new Curriculum for Excellence. Curriculum for Excellence provides the most fantastic opportunity for our young people, because in there is so much about being more sustainable, looking at issues like renewable energy, looking at climate change and things like that. But also, just if we're building a school around our children, then we should be educating them about what is good in terms of sustainable build, and that is just not happening. It's a real missed opportunity. And Robin pointed out there, the new school at Carrickle Howard Liddell is the architect involved. I was there a few months ago, and that is just the most fantastic design build school. It's not PPP, it's been funded by the council, so it's a wee bit more expensive. But it just shows that what we can build if we want to and put our minds to it. So my concern here is that there is a real missed opportunity about learning of our young people in the schools that they are in and being built around them. And we should take that and grasp it, because it's a fantastic opportunity for them to learn while they're in the school that's being built around them.
I think you're also saying, actually, learn from success, build on that success as well, and understand what success means, I think, which is by looking at what you've done well, which is important.
John, can I just chip in one thing? And not everyone's missing those opportunities. I mean, schools are grasping it and looking at the build and actually using the build as a learning opportunity. So I think we see that. And secondly, the design of some schools, you know, they leave gaps for the services so that the children can then understand about that, and the children help to make sure that the energy consumption and so on is sustainable. And just a couple of points. There are other issues as well. For example, there was a new build in another country, and while the new building was being built, they had to change the school hours in the old building. So they had the children come in at 10 o'clock or 10:30 in the morning till 4:30, and they noticed that attainment in the exam results had gone up just because they changed the hours. So there are other factors there. And just a wee aside, and that's the photographs I showed you about outdoor learning with kids getting involved in projects. Those were my children. So those children are now 45, and the young chap with the beard and the black hair, that was me.
Anybody with some thoughts about how we can really unlock that real, and we've heard about it this evening, real inventiveness, both in terms of architecturally, spatially, and also in terms of teaching ideas? And what might be some of the things which are holding us back, which we can actually find ways to do it? Yeah, we have. I'm going to take the one with you. Yes.
Hi, my name is Malcolm Hutchinson. I'm MD of a social enterprise called Enterprising Scotland, which has been recently formed to tackle the suppression of innovation and creativity in my country. And the answer to your question, which I'd probably not thought of until you asked it, was quite simple. There is a rather unfortunate chain of events in the way that we make policy and the way that we actually communicate policy in Scotland. It's called the Senior Civil Service. And what we have, unfortunately, in Scotland is a suppression of innovation, creativity, enterprise and entrepreneurship. And there is an opportunity, as somebody just said over there about Harrico. I've done a lot of work with colleges in the last 3 years, and the immense change that have happened to learners, to the communities, to the people who teach in colleges because of some of the new estate. The iconic building in Easterhouse, which is John Wheatley College, which has won many, many awards, both here in Scotland and internationally, has fundamentally changed the nature of Easterhouse. It's fundamentally changed the nature of learning. And most of that has been an uphill struggle with building regulations, with planning and all the rest of it, which everyone else has to suffer from. But the largest threat to that college is actually the fact that it does not fit a monoclonic model of further education set out by the Scottish Funding Council. And I think we're going to be very, very careful in Scotland when we talk about what we have in Scotland and how we can use it, without recognising that there are very significant barriers to innovation, creative thinking and entrepreneurship from an individual point of view, whether it's from architects, educational professionals or simple people like me that just have worked in public services for the last 30 years.
Over here.
Hi, my name is Eddie Edgerton. I'm an environmental psychologist at the University of the West of Scotland. My answer to your question is I think we need to fund proper scientific research that looks at the impact of new buildings. I've been to many of these events. We've heard criticisms of the new buildings, which I have a lot of sympathy with. We see wonderful pictures of new buildings, architectural awards, but at the same time, none of these are based on proper scientific evidence about how these buildings actually impact on things like student engagement, behaviour of pupils, staff in terms of their job satisfaction, academic self-esteem. Unless we start having some kind of political will to actually fund that type of research, then we're never going to learn about these type of buildings and how we can actually improve on them. I mean, again, it's a missed opportunity. We're building so many new schools, or at least we have been building so many new schools, and we're not learning about what the actual impact is on the users of these buildings, where the successes are and where the failures are. So that's what, from my point of view, one of the answers has to be to fund proper research.
Okay, important. Evaluating, feedback, learning, and improving.